Lifetime after lifetime we surged up the hill, I and my dear brothers, thirsty for blood, uttering our beautiful songs, said the dog. So those were three voices, an old woman, a tulip, and a dog. And each verse is a different voice and different
Um,
interpretations of the song.
can I ask you to read that one again? Um,
Sure.
I mean, I lost that thread and I wasn't able to see it on the screen. I don't know why. I had it up earlier, but could you do that one more time?
Okay. This is, again, it's got three verses, and each verse is in a different voice. First verse is in the voice of an old woman. The second verse is in the voice of a tulip, and the third verse is in the voice of a dog. So here it goes. Some claim the origin of song was a war cry. Some say it was a rhyme telling farmers when to plant and reap. Don't they know the first song was a lullaby pulled from a mother's sleep? Said the old woman. A significant factor generating my delight in being alive this springtime is the bird song that, like a sleeping mesh, has captured me. Like a diamond rain, I can't hear it enough, said the tulip. Lifetime after lifetime we surged up the hill, I and my dear brothers, thirsty for blood, uttering our beautiful songs, said the dog.
Yes. All right. Right.
And I really was captured in this poem by the first verse when they say the first song was a lullaby pulled from a mother's sleep. That just sounds just so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it because we're human. And the other two verses, we have to stretch our imagination to be there. But I love the one about the dogs. That's great. You know that
Yes.
every time a deer passes through our, backyard park, Lukey reminds me of that thrill that and song. Let me just say. Anyway, I thought that. Thank you for doing it twice. Anyway, that was great.
Did you want to do Night Song by
If I, yeah, let me see if I
Langston?
can say something about it so I can make sure I got it. I
Okay,
had
well,
all
it's by
these things up.
Langston Hughes, who we often read on this show, the very fine and great and giant of the Harlem Renaissance. His dates were 1901 to 1967. Um, very, very powerful, wonderful. Known for his insightful, colorful portraits of Black life in America. Wrote sort of in the vernacular, which was kind of unusual at the time for this thing. Do I need to say more, John?
Yeah, I'm still looking. Oh, this is Harlem Night Song.
Yes.
Okay, no, yeah, I found it, so that's good. Yeah, no, this is beautiful. Let me. You want me to read this one, or do you want to read it?
Yes.
Yes, you want first. Okay.
You read it, John.
All right. So Langston Hughes, 1901 to 1967, and this poem is pretty characteristic, short and potent. Most of his poems are short. Come, let us roam the night together, singing, "I love you." Across the Harlem rooftops, moon is shining, night sky is blue. Stars are great drops of golden dew. In the cabaret, the jazz band's playing. I love you. Come, let us roam the night together, singing. So
that was from his book, The Weary Blues, which was published in 1926.
right,
But I thought that was just a lovely. One of the things that songs can do, or they can be love songs. This is a beautiful love song. So I was very taken with
Well,
that poem.
probably. I mean, if you had to parse out the portion of popular song that were love songs, it has. Do you think it would probably be most of them, or I don't know? There's songs of worship. They were big for centuries. What do you think?
I think there's a lot of poetry devoted to love and poetry devoted to songs. In fact, the only poetry my adolescent son ever wrote were love poems to girls he was infatuated with, except for
Yes.
one poem he wrote one fabulous poem he wrote when the Berlin Wall fell, which unfortunately I lost in one of the moves, but it was a fascinating poem. But I think love is one of the predominant themes of poetry and song.
Well,
But this
certainly
next
song.
poem,
I was thinking more of song. I can't think of. Yeah, you listen to the radio as I do all day, and it's all song except for a few hours. Anyway, but I like that poem. It's very characteristic of Langston Hughes' shorter poems. What's next?
and this
You
is
want to?
an even shorter poem. This is by William Butler Yeats, the great Irish poet.
Oh yes.
And it's one I found. I had never read this poem before. I found it when I was, doing the internet search for this show, and it's called. Let's see what its title is. It's called A Coat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is.
I
Go
made
ahead. This is wonderful. This is typical Yeats, and brilliant. Go ahead. Yeah.
A Coat by William Butler Yeats. I made my song a coat covered with embroideries out of old mythologies from heel to throat. But the fools caught it, wore it in the world's eyes as though they'd wrought it. Song, let them take it, for there's more enterprise in walking naked.
Isn't he great? The way he can just twist
Yes,
things around.
and the rhymes are so clever in this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's quite musical, and yet sort of it's full of tricks. But fools caught it.
Yes,
What a great idea, I mean,
yes.
from the heel to the throat. I mean, that's so Yeats. I don't know. It's
Or
almost a
covered with embroideries out of old mythologies. That's so Yeats. That
yeah, yes.
represents so
Oh,
much of the
exactly. Yes. And so you almost could tell the author. I mean, if you were a reasonable student of modern poetry, you could probably name the author from just some of the signature ways he uses references or images. But it's his wit. I think it's the wit that is also, it's very, very powerful in a lot of his poetry. So I like that one. I might memorize that one just to, if I was still going to cocktail parties, which has been a half century since I did. But anyway, that'd be a great one to try on. Would-be girlfriends. How's that? Be just like your son.
Mhm.
Anyway, all right. What's next?
We're going to Elizabeth Bishop. Did you
Mm.
have that up, or do you want to read that? That's the sonnet "I Am in Need of Music."
Why don't you read that one? That of the ones that you had this morning, that wasn't my favorite. I wasn't sure I got it. Um,
Okay.
um, go ahead.
Well, this is Elizabeth Bishop, who was an American poet, a friend of Robert Lowell's. And this is a sonnet. It's called "I Am in Need of Music." I am in need of music that would flow over my fretful, feeling fingertips, over my bitter, tainted, trembling lips, with melody, deep, clear, and liquid slow. Oh, for the healing swaying, old and low, of some song sung to rest the tired dead, a song to fall like water on my head, over quivering limbs, dreams flush to glow. There is a magic made by melody, a spell of rest, a quiet breath, and cool heart that sinks through fading colors deep to the subaqueous stillness of the sea, and floats forever in a moon-green pool, held in the arms of rhythm and of sleep.
Yeah.
And that's just a plea for music to soothe someone. And it's done, it's done in very poetic language. It's done in a very tight sonnet form.
Right.
I love the turn when they go to there was a magic made by melody, a spell of rest, a quiet breath.
Do you think subaqueous is a good word for a poem?
I think she gets away with it, but
I don't know. Just
the aqueous stillness of the sea. I think it works in that line because it's the only word like that in there. So it's not like she drowns you in, and it makes.
Yeah. Okay. It seems like she was looking for words to start with S, and happened upon that one. I don't know. It was just so. Anyway, but I didn't connect with it quite as strong. Maybe I don't usually listen to music to go to sleep, or to so maybe it's just a different mood in which music takes you.
Well, she was approaching it as something that would soothe her. She was fretful over my fretful feeling fingertips, my bitter tainted trembling lips.
Right.
She was fretful and she was looking for something to soothe her. And this is sort of like the often misquoted Shakespeare line, music to soothe the savage breast.
Right. My dad was a lawyer, and he would come home on some weekends. You could tell, or my mother told me, so I should have been able to tell, that, it had been a stressful week, and he would, listen to Appalachian Spring, and the famous Copeland piece that has very peaceful but very dramatic pieces in it as well, and he would be able to sleep listening to that symphony, Appalachian Spring. So I hear you. Anyway, all right. What's next?
We're going to the Alan Shapiro poem.
Oh,
Song and
yes.
Dance.
Oh, yes. That was quite interesting. Let me see if I can. Let me find that. I had that one up here.
Which is set up as like an interview, but the
Right.
answers are very unusual.
Right. Song and Dance, it's called. Correct. Yes.
Yes.
all
Alan
right.
K. Shapiro was an American poet.
Right.
I'm not sure of his dates.
Very. It's
was from his
structure.
book Song and Dance, copyright 2022.
It's a
Do you want to
very
read this
interesting.
one?
Yeah,
Or
it's
do
a
you want to
very
read it in
interesting.
voices?
Say what?
Do you want to read this, Owen, or do you want us to read this in two voices where I could read the italics and you could read the answer?
Oh, okay. Okay, let's do that. That sounds cool. Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, so this is written as an interview, and I'm going to read the questions, and John's going to read the answers. It's Song and Dance by Alan R. Shapiro. And it is kind of a song and dance, okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a family?
Dark. Dining room. Bright kitchen. White steam from the big pot in my mother's stirring, reaching wavy tendrils to her face, around her face, all the way around to me at the table, then beyond me into the darkness where my brother is.
Were you ever a child?
I'm hungry, but I know we'll eat soon. So, even the hunger's sweet.
Did you ever really have a brother?
He's singing there in the dark corner beside the stereo. The volume turned down so low, all we hear is him, his voice, his eyes closed, so that there's nothing around him anywhere that might reveal he isn't who the song insists he is.
And that is?
Irresistible, unforgettable. Someone to whom, as in an imaginary gardens where, quote, the nectarine and curious peach into my hands themselves do reach. Love comes as soon as called, comes just as dreamed.
Did any of this ever happen?
The hunger's sweet. It's as if the song weaves through the fragrance of the braiding steam from him to me, to her, to me, to him, because her eyes are closed now too. Her slippered feet tap, caper a soft shoe, while the ladle sways in her hand as she stirs.
Were you ever a child?
I know, I'll eat soon.
Did you ever really have a brother?
You should have heard him. His voice was unforgettable, irresistible. His voice was an imaginary garden woven through with fragrance.
Did you ever have a family?
Their eyes are closed. That's how I know we're there, inside it. It's made of sound and steam that weaves between dark dining room, bright kitchen. We're there because I'm hungry, and we'll all be eating soon together, and the hunger's sweet. That's great.
Somehow I fell in love with that poem.
Yeah, yeah. It grew on me as it went along, and I just like the way its unanswered questions hang there.
Yes.
It's very interesting, and the song continues.
Mm-hmm.
And from the brother who may or may not be there. Right. That was great.
And the mother who may or may not be there.
And the mother who may just be sound and steam. Right. Right.
And the way certain words recur that are unforgettable, irresistible. His voice was an imaginary garden woven through with fragrance. Certain images recur that kind of give the poem a unity that you
Right.
might not expect from the non sequitur of the answers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were you ever a child? I know I'll eat soon.
Yeah. Yes. And that's right. That's really, and it's the kind of thing. It's the childlike expression. It's almost like you recognize it immediately. Oh, I'm sure we'll eat soon.
So even the hunger's sweet.
Yes, so even the hunger is sweet. Right.
That's not a word you usually associate with hunger, but you understand what it's like when you're right about to eat and you're hungry, but it's
right.
The anticipation that's sweet.
Yeah, right. It's you're expecting to eat, okay? Not thinking about not having anything to eat. And, yeah, it would be the other way. Wow, I like that one, Janet. Thanks for that one.
And then the last one I sent just at 9:30 this morning was a snapshot of a poem in a book. And this is by Susan Jackson, who's actually a friend of mine through a poetry class I've taken online. And she has published two well-received and honored books of poetry, and I think two chapbooks. Her first book was Through the Gate of Trees, spring of 2007, and she has a new book out whose title I've just forgot, but it's also by it's also through the same press, which is, let me find it again. Cavan Carey Press is her press. And she's got two chapbooks out. This was her first. It's called All the Light in Between from Finishing Line Press. And the poem is called The Radio's Playing Ray Charles.
Right.
So get in the mood for some Ray Charles here.
Okay.
The Radio's Playing Ray Charles by Susan Jackson. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song. I'm leaning into you in the smoke and slow dancing these low notes working their way up my spine, stirring up the night. Throaty voices in the corner singing along, our hips touching like moonlight through the pines. Moonlight like a folded handkerchief slanting through the window that night. Georgia, Georgia, just a sweet and simple song, and our whole life laying out like a road, still ahead of us.
That's right. That's right. That's
I
what
thought that was a lovely love. Again, we're going back to song as a love poem. I thought that was a very beautiful love poem about dancing to this Ray Charles song.
Maybe I'll add a little clip of Ray Charles to the end of the podcast. That might be good. Okay. No, I
Yes.
like that one too. Very nice, Janet. Well, so do you have another one, or is that we're going to close? You want to close on
That's
that?
the one I was going to end on.
Okay, that's a good one. Is it okay? You think if I put that one on the as the one I usually put one of them on the website?
I'll have to ask Susan, but I think she'll be okay with
yeah.
it.
Let me know. And if she has a link to her website or something that she would like me to put with it, I can happy to do that too. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, all right. Well, this has been wonderful, and once again, it's for me. I got especially that the interview poem, and of course William Butler Yeats. I mean, just he always just tickles me and makes me think deeper than I would have done otherwise. So anyway, thank you very much, Janet. Okay, everybody, take care of each other. It's late, but everything comes next.
And fever all through the night.
Sun lights up the daytime, moon lights up the night.